Yo, what is going on, guys? CWpoke here, back with a brand new VGC 2016 analysis video, and in today's episode we are going to be analyzing Palkia. Now, Palkia was initially a Pokemon I didn't really think about too much. It wasn't really on my radar, but we just recently faced one in a VGC 2016 Wi-Fi battle, and some well-known players like Aaron Cybertron Zheng have been doing really well with Palkia, so I figured it's probably a Pokemon that's worth considering and looking into and seeing what it's all about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the basic information. Palkia has an ability of pressure as its main ability, not a very, super special ability or anything like that, but it does have its unique gimmicks every now and then, and it does also have the hidden ability of telepathy, which can be fairly good if you have some partner spread moves on your team that you don't want it to get hit with. Now, as far as I'm aware right now, Palkia's hidden ability is only accessible through an event, and I believe that event locks it into a nature. I believe it's modest. Now, I don't know that for certain, but if you are trying to do that, it is a more tricky option to find, so it is going to be a little bit harder. But luckily, Palkia's big selling point isn't its ability. It's partly its typing, which is water and dragon, which is really nice. It gives it a lot of resistances, and also it's only weak to dragon and fairy. Only two really big threats that you have to really worry about. Now let's look at its base stats. It's got 90 HP, 120 attack, 100 defense, 150 special attack, 120 special defense, and 100 speed. So all across the board, it's fairly solid. It doesn't really struggle at anything. It's got some decent speed on it. Its HP is its weakest stat, but 90 is not terrible. You know, it's got some decent defenses to back it up, and it's got a very strong special attack. You're going to see a lot of Palkia running the special attack sets, and in fact, the two sets I'm going to show you guys today are both going to be on the special attacking side. You can look into its physical set, but I don't think there's anything too noteworthy over there. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I would love to see some cool sets that you guys come up if you find any. So now, looking at some of its noteworthy moves, it's got Spatial Rend, which is actually its signature move. It is a dragon type move, I believe 100% or 100 base power, 95 accuracy, and its special effect is that it has a higher crit chance. So it could be really nice. It's a very good stab dragon type. It does have a 5% chance to miss, but in my honest opinion, I think a 5% is a pretty safe move. It's not 100%, of course. It could fail you every now and then, but 95 is a really solid, reliable accuracy if it's not at 100. It also gets Hydro Pump, which is really good because it is part water type. So if you want to hit really hard with a water type move, Hydro Pump is a really good, solid answer to that. And it also works really well alongside Kyogre because then you're getting the buff in the rain, which is really nice as well. Now, another move that's a little bit more interesting, wouldn't normally think to use it, but a lot of the people who have been using Palkia have opted for it, is Earth Power. And this move is really good, especially for Primal Groudon, because even if the sun is up, you can still hit it for super effective damage and get a 2-hit KO. So it's a really good option if you are really worried about Primal Groudon and want to have some sort of answer to him. Another move that you could go for is either Thunder or Thunderbolt, depending on if you want an electric type move, and if you want to rely on the weaker accuracy, or if you have, a Kyogre again on your team. Like I said before, Kyogre is a really solid partner for Palkia, so he does have some cool options, and he could run Thunder as well for that. And it is also good for opposing Kyogre as well. Now, again, Palkia has a huge diverse moveset, so it's also got moves like Flamethrower if you're really worried about steals or something, and it also has some really cool speed control options with Trick Room and Thunder Wave. Two moves I really wouldn't have thought of using, but the two Palkia that I've been seeing have really good success are actually Trick Room Palkias, so that is something to consider as well. 100 base speed, so it doesn't seem like it's naturally that slow, but if you give it minus special or minus speed natures and IVs and things like that, it could actually do some work in Trick Room and be a good option to set it up. Now, seeing some of the Pokemon that it's strong against is actually a pretty big deal. That's why Palkia is so good, is because it's really good against Primal Kyogre and Groudon. It really handles both of them very well with its typings, and it can hit back with both of them on either Thunder and Thunderbolt, or Earth Power, or Hydro Pump if you somehow get the Weather War up against a Primal Groudon. But either way, Palkia is able to take any of the hits that these guys have to offer, not necessarily perfectly well. It's not like he's going to be a 10-hit KO or anything crazy, but you're going to be able to survive some of these monstrous attacks that these guys have to offer, and then you will be able to counter back and hit with a nice super effective attack, or get some speed control up, or whatever it is. So it's a really good option here, and a really good Pokemon against these two threatening primals. Now, as far as the things that it's weak against, that would definitely be Xerneas and Mega Rayquaza, or basically strong fairy types and strong dragon types. Again, most modest Xerneas, I believe, are able to one-shot a bunch of, standard Palkias if they're not very bulky with a Moonblast, so that is something that you're going to have to look out for. And Mega Rayquaza is able to outspeed and hit very hard, either specially or defensively, with Draco Meteors or Dragon Claws if they're running it, or things like that. So you do have to be careful about the strong dragon hits as well. Now let's go look at some of the standard sets that we can run, and these are actually kind of custom sets, but they are inspired obviously by, again, Aaron's Trick Room based Palkia, and the one that we saw against Shut Up and Rock on our VGC Wi-Fi series. So this one is going to be a Palkia carrying either the Haban berry or the Sitrus berry. Now the reason why the Haban is an option is if you're really worried about getting one-shotted again by Mega Rayquaza or really strong dragon type moves. This EV spread isn't able to survive most dragon hits because you need so much investment, so a Haban berry will guarantee that you survive one of those. Or if you want just more bulk, you can have the Sitrus berry, that way you can heal back up a little bit and gain some more of that bulk after all. Again, with the ability, we just went for pressure here. If you want to get telepathy, you can. It may not matter on your team as much if you're not running moves like Earthquake, but it is something you can consider, but again, doesn't matter too much. Now for the EVs, I went for 252 HP, 64 defense, 36 special attack, and 156 special defense with a sassy nature, which is minus speed plus special defense. Now what's special about this EV spread is it is probably one of the most minimal sets you need to get in order to survive a 252 modest Moonblast from a Xerneas. So if you're really worried about Xerneas and you want to be able to set up a Trick Room on it or something, this is a very good spread because the 252 HP with the nature and the 156 special defense will guarantee that it lives that hit. Now the rest I just dumped into a little mix of bulk and offense. I gave it some defense. It doesn't necessarily live a Mega Rayquaza's hit. I think it is a damage range, but with a Haban berry, again, you will be guaranteed to live a hit. And the special attack is just a little bit, just to give it a little bit more fighting power, but again, you know, it doesn't do anything special. And for the moveset goes, we have Spatial Rend, Earth Power, just for, we have some good coverage moves. Earth Power really good against Primal Groudon, Spatial Rend just a strong stab dragon type. And you know, it does have the, I guess, buffed critical attack or critical hit chance. So in the long run, it may be doing more damage than other moves, which is kind of something to consider. And then of course, we want to put Trick Room on it, and Protect I think is a good option. You're not always going to want to have Palkia sitting out in the open. And you might want to be able to protect sometimes. So I thought this was a pretty good moveset if you're looking into one of the slower Trick Room variants. Or if you just want to use something like KYOGRE'S best friend forever, you can go ahead and opt for a Palkia with something like Life Orb or Choice Specs, maybe even Choice Scarf. Again, same ability, doesn't matter too much. And for the EVs, you're going to want 6 HP, 252 special attack, and speed, a very standard one, again with a timid nature just to be as fast and strong as possible. And this one has moves like Spatial Rend, Hydro Pump, Thunder, and then you can possibly not use Protect, especially if you're running a choice set, so you can use other moves like Earth Power, or Flamethrower, you know, depending on what your team needs. That's the cool thing about Palkia is you have so many options that you can run. Now, again, this set is just kind of a standard, you know, oh, I want to run a very fast Palkia, what do I do? Well, you can try starting off like this and see how you want it to work out for your team. Maybe this set doesn't do exactly what you want it to do, so that is when you go into the custom EVs, as we talked about in our Xerneas episode, and figure out what you need your Palkia to do for your team. But as far as a very standard one that you can just copy and paste onto a team and get going and practice with, this is probably a good one to use. So to conclude, Palkia is a Pokemon that has many tricks up its sleeve. It's got a huge move pool which really helps it offensively, and it's got some really cool speed control options with Trick Room and Thunder Wave. So the good thing about Palkia is that it gives you room to experiment. You can experiment with moves that suit your team to the best of its ability, you know. If you're running a rain team, you probably won't want to opt for something like Flamethrower, but maybe you're using a Palkia on a team with a Primal Groudon, so Flamethrower could be a decent option, you know. It just depends on what you want to run and what you're going to want to use it for. Now, if you're trying to take on a Palkia, make sure that you focus on strong dragon and fairy attacks to take it out. It's a fairly bulky Pokemon, it resists a lot of moves or it's neutral to a lot of moves, so dragon and fairy are its only weaknesses and you're really going to want to focus on those. It's hard to just totally wall out Palkia because it has such a large moveset. Now, if you know your opponent's Palkia, maybe you can wall it depending on what move it may be lacking. You know, if it's lacking certain moves that you're normally weak against, then you might be able to wall it out, but otherwise you're going to want to focus on just hitting it in its weaknesses. So hit it hard with either weakness and you should probably be able to get rid of it. And that actually concludes our analysis of Palkia, of Pokemon, our Pokemon analysis. But yes, if you want to, be sure to check out my other videos. We have done another VGC analysis on a Pokemon like Smeargle. If you want to check that one is right here in the video. And you can also see a new series that we started. It is VGC 2016 Wi-Fi Battles, and this one is actually our second battle against a fellow YouTuber named Shut Up and Rock, or Jim if you want to call him that. And yeah, this is actually a match that features Palkia. This is kind of what inspired me to just do this analysis, because I realized was Palkia was a very strong threat, and it's something that I should learn more about. And I figured you guys might want to use it too. That way you can kind of diversify your teams, maybe not stick with Groudon and Xerneas or something like that. But yes, that is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like if you did enjoy the video, subscribe if you want to see more. Tell me in the chat, or in the, I say that every time I tell you guys, tell me in the comment section down below what kind of Palkia sets you are running, how you like to deal with Palkia or anything like that, or even Pokemon that you want to see me cover in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.